Iran now manages the Strait of Hormuz. That's not a threat. That's reportedly a term inside a deal the United States is agreeing to. 10% of the world's oil moves through that strait every single day. The country that spent 40 days getting bombed is walking away with control of the most important waterway on the planet. So what exactly did America win here? The US and Israel launched strikes on Iran, 40 days of conflict, a ceasefire came, and then broke down last weekend when Iran resumed retaliation, calling it a violation by the US and Israel. What stopped the shooting, reportedly? $3 billion moved through the United Arab Emirates, directly to Iran, not frozen assets from an old agreement, not part of any signed deal. Cash transferred before negotiations were even complete. Now Iranian Foreign Minister Araqchi is speaking on state TV. His version of the framework includes Iranian and Omani management of the Strait of Hormuz, with possible future fees for ships passing through. Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon, and a reconstruction package that some reports put as high as $300 billion. The agreement, if finalized, gets signed remotely, no summit, no handshake photo. Pay attention to the UAE in this story because that's where things get strange. During the war, the Emirates were one of Iran's primary targets, missiles, drones, critical infrastructure at risk. The UAE spent years quietly drifting toward Israel. Analysts noted it was moving closer even against Saudi Arabia's preferences. That was the trajectory. Now the UAE is the country funneling cash to Iran and reportedly agreeing to release up to $20 billion more as part of this framework. That's not a small pivot, that's a full reversal. The Abraham Accords, Trump's signature first-term foreign policy achievement, were built on the idea that Gulf states and Israel were converging. That architecture is now fracturing. Not from a peace conference, from a war that made the Gulf states recalculate who they actually fear more. 21 million barrels of oil pass through the Strait of Hormuz every day. That number is the whole story. If Iran formalizes control over that choke point and starts charging fees for vessel passage, those costs travel. They hit shipping rates, they hit energy prices, they land at your gas pump. Whether you're in America, Europe, or Asia, the US exports more oil than it imports right now. But oil markets don't work in isolation. A supply shock anywhere creates price pressure everywhere. Beyond gas prices, this reshapes every future sanctions calculation. Every time the US has threatened Iran economically, Hormuz was the implicit counter-threat. Now that counter-threat has a legal framework around it. The case for this deal is straightforward. The war was killing people and destabilizing the entire region. If peace costs $3 billion and some management rights over a waterway, that's cheaper than continued conflict, militarily and economically. The weakness in that argument is timing. Iran's foreign minister listed 14 items still unresolved. This is a framework, not a deal. The US has already paid and already made concessions. If negotiations collapse before anything gets signed, America gave up leverage for nothing, and history shows US-Iran frameworks have collapsed before. The Trump administration sold this conflict as total victory. Iran submitting the strongest deal ever, no concessions, what's emerging is different. Iran retains Hormuz. Iran received billions before signing anything. Israel withdraws from Lebanon. The reconstruction bill could reach $300 billion. That's not submission. That's a negotiated settlement where the country that got bombed is dictating significant terms. Maybe that's the realistic price of ending a 40-day war. Maybe the alternative was worse. But the political problem is real, because the promise was dominance, and the outcome looks like accommodation. The next 60 days will tell the story. Watch whether those 14 unresolved items get agreed on, or whether one side walks away. If this deal holds, it permanently rewrites Middle East power dynamics. If it falls apart, the $3 billion is already gone. If this deal gets signed, Iran managing Hormuz, billions transferred Israel out of Lebanon, does that count as an American win? Or did the US just pay to lose gracefully?